Hello and welcome. This is a response to the Syriangirlpartisan's comments with her video about the lies being told about the weapons of mass destruction. In Syria today, they talk about sarin gas being used by government forces of Assad. I live in Canada, far away from all the turmoil, but nevertheless I'm very sad at what is happening in Syria today. It troubles me tremendously. It troubles me tremendously what is happening in Palestine and in Gaza and in Iraq, the butchery of the whole Middle East by Zionist and Western powers. Before I make a comment about the young lady who spoke about the lies of weapons of mass destruction, which, by the way, she's telling the absolute truth, I would like to say that there are many people in this country of Canada that agree with you, but we're not free in Canada as you might think we are. Our media outlets, that is television, radio, and newspapers, are controlled. Reporters can't say what they want to say anymore. As much as they might like to, they can't do it. So here in this country, we don't really know a lot about what is going on unless we go to YouTube and see on YouTube or other media, perhaps Facebook, other outlets, what really is going on. The lie about the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq served the agenda of the Zionist regime and the Americans, or perhaps just the Zionist regime, because the United States is not the United States as we once knew. It is actually the United States of Israel. And if we refer to the United States of so-called America as the United States of Israel, by golly, they just might wake up and do something about it. And in Canada, being referred to as Greater Israel, the people wouldn't like that, you know. So maybe one day we'll wake up too. But getting back to the business of the lies, the deception of the weapons of mass destruction, I will concentrate on Iraq for a couple of minutes. When all the destruction was over with, when all the bloodletting and the bombing and the murder by American troops and their war machines from the air, their B-52s flattening the whole country, Madeleine Albright, the secretary of something or other, was asked by a newscaster, well, Miss Albright, do you think it was worth killing 500,000 Iraqi children for your agenda, for your belief? Was it worth it? And her response was, how horrible. And in the next breath it was, well, yes, of course it was worth it, because, we freed Iraq. Oh, I know it's horrible, but we freed Iraq. Can you imagine that? I don't think she's a mother, at least I hope she's not. But that was the response. I don't understand that kind of thinking. It's evil. That's all I do know. Not to mention the tens of thousands of children maimed, blind, scarred, burned, limbless, without their fathers, without their mothers, without their homes. And Madeleine Albright says, oh, yes, of course it was worth it. What a bitch out of hell. Well, that's a fact. The weapons of mass destruction was a lie. Today they're saying, oh, the Syrians, they've already used weapons of mass destruction, sarin gas. At least 150 people have been killed. And of course there's no proof of any of this. But this again is to get the American public to believe their lies. Now you think this Obama guy, who's the #1 killer of humanity today, okay? You would think that this guy would have a little more intelligence than using the same lie, the same bullshit as George Bush used to slaughter those people. Can you imagine that? But he comes up with the same thing. Well, the people are not falling for that. And suddenly the tide shifts because the unexpected happened. Hezbollah, the finest fighting machine in the whole world, stepped in to save Syria from the fate, or the same fate as Iraq, the same fate as Palestine and Gaza, and all the other lands that have been destroyed by a Zionist agenda. Now, those two lies, the whole world knows about that. But what the world is now also realizing is that a third lie that started all of this butchery began in 2001. There are many highly intelligent, learned people, both men and women, around the world, but particularly in the United States, that are now investigating very heavily the 2001 bombing or destruction of the Twin Towers. Now, many people are believing that Cheney, Bush, Rumsfeld, and the Zionist government of Israel were all a part of that. It was like in the Second World War, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. That got the backs of the people up, But the US government knew what the Japanese were doing, and they allowed it happen so they could say, we're going to war, and that's exactly what happened. And this was on the same level. So they allowed the Twin Towers to be bombed, and we don't know by who. No bodies have been found. No evidence has been found. No, none whatsoever. And most people, or many people today, now are beginning to see that this is a lie, that the public have been hoodwinked. And I'm talking about people who were there, like firefighters, police, politicians, business people, people who lost their families or their father or their mother. All peoples that make up that society are now questioning it. And I believe that George Bush was a part of that. Because George Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld, nothing is beneath them. They are an evil, evil force. They are the epitome of evil. Because their egos and vanity is so big, they don't care who they destroy as long as they get their way. And their way is controlling the natural resources of the Middle East, so we in the West can have cheap oil, and we can sell arms to everybody so they can destroy each other. And of course, the arms business is the biggest business in the world. So if there are no wars, the economy, you know what I mean. Getting back to Syria. To the Syriangirlpartisan, I could see by her expression that she was really emotionally upset and frustrated. And what she said is absolutely true. The politicians over here are liars. They are cheats and they are thieves and they are murderers of humanity. And they will stop at nothing to get their own way, and their way is the Zionist way. But I say to the Syriangirlpartisan that Syria will recover. Hezbollah has stepped in, it has turned the tide. And not alone will Syria recover, Hezbollah will make sure that Palestine is reclaimed and it is a wholesome land once again, and also Gaza. Can you imagine Palestine? And this is important, particularly to Christians. I'm not a Christian, I don't follow any religion in particular, but I know what's right, and I know what's wrong. And Palestine is the land where God sent his son to be born. You know, in Bethlehem. The 12 apostles were born in Palestine. And Palestine is almost gone. And Jesus is supposed to be returning to this earth. And when he does, he doesn't have a home to return to. Do you understand what I mean? That's very, very serious. And Christians should take a good look at that. Maybe all religions should take a good look at that. But with Hezbollah stepping in, one thing that I have noticed about them is that they do what they say they will do. Have heart, Syriangirlpartisan, but I will finish with this, that if Assad has committed the crimes against his own people that is said that he has, he should be held accountable for those crimes, and he should be hanged for those crimes, along with Obama, George Bush, Cheney, and others that aid and abet the wanton slaughter of humanity. God bless Syria. God bless Palestine. God bless Gaza. God bless us all. Peace. Peace. Being nice to each other counts. Nothing else.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.